Well then, I'm your host, Adam Jamal.
And I'm Aaron Schroeder.
That's right. This is the Quack 12 podcast, the most official, unofficial Oregon Ducks podcast in the universe and the webosphere. And Aaron, I've been loving the amount of bowl games that I have been subjecting myself to. It's been a blast. Like last year with college football, the whole thing was just like kind of rough to watch for a million reasons. This season, this bowl season, every single bowl game that we've had, I've just savored. Have you watched any sports at all, my man?
I watched one bowl game.
One bowl game, and it was a bit of a bummer. I'm guessing if you're talking about the game I'm thinking about.
Yeah, for about 7 minutes, it seemed like it was going to be really fun.
Yes.
And then that was about it.
We're talking about the Alamo Bowl. That is right. The Oregon Ducks versus the Oklahoma Sooners. And like, just to make it a little blast from the past, we got Stoops out there coaching his ass off, and it was kind of an interesting game. I did appreciate the comeback. In a game that's kind of like meaningless like this, I did appreciate that in the end, a lot of people got to catch some touchdowns. And at one point it was, feasible that they could come back.
Truth be told.
Yeah.
There was maybe a minute of gameplay, or no, real time.
Okay.
Where I was like, oh wow, are they actually going to be able to come back? And
that
then
sounds about right.
I went, no, because they haven't been able to stop the Sooners in forever. So they're probably going to just keep scoring and we'll never actually fully catch up.
That's what it really came down to, especially when like Noah Sewell was out of the game, when Dante Manning was out of the game. Obviously, we have like our two starting cornerbacks were already going to the NFL. No Kayvon. It was just the defense wasn't able to handle what the Sooners had.
You know what I'd like to talk about as something that is maybe it's a fun topic inside of a fucking pile of cow dung.
Okay, let's hear it. That's exactly what the Quack 12 podcast is for.
It was just mainly a subject, and I thought maybe you could expound. The freshman class. A lot of them were playing, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, some of the ones that really came to my mind was like, I did like seeing Troy Franklin out there, 4 catches for 65 yards, 1 touchdown. Dante Thornton, 4 catches for 90 yards, 1 touchdown. And they're
even
just
on the defense, we had a lot of freshmen, right?
Sure. I think less, but that's actually kind of better. I actually like it more that there was less. There was definitely depth tested, like on the defense.
Okay,
a lot of that. You know what I mean? Because of all the injuries.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
I
don't think they did that bad.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think so.
It's
I'm
not
really hard.
I mean, I'm looking forward to next season because having seen a showcase of some of the lower level stuff, I'm like, well,
exactly.
We could be strong enough for a first year coach to do something progressive.
When Flo adds to the equation, that'll be really awesome. And honestly, when it comes down to it, the staff that we have right now, and we're going to have an episode coming up in the near future in which we just break down Oregon's new coaching staff, because there's some colorful characters in there. All right. There's some, there's a lot going on here. But
really,
the common thread, by the way, I just want to shout out for anyone that can see it. I'm wearing my Oregon Ducks. I got a beanie and I got this scarf. These were made for me over the holidays. And I also got this other gift from my wonderful girlfriend. That's right, the Webfoot jersey, the throwback jerseys, the blue and yellow ones, if you will.
Oh,
number
blue?
21. This is the jersey we wore when we got our asses kicked to us in the 2016 game by Washington by some ungodly number by like 70 points or something like that.
Wow.
But I got this jersey and I really like it. I like it. It's the throwback to the
fit.
Yeah, the throwback
I
to the
love how
1894
we were
team.
really on a great track. Like,
We
for a
really
show that
were.
doesn't do super great at staying on point, we were doing great.
Yes.
And then now we're on fashion.
And then I got distracted. I know, if I had a segment for it, if I had like a cue, then it would have been flawless. But
Yeah,
no,
well,
that
see, now I don't even know what we were talking about beforehand.
you said freshman.
Right, and then we discussed
basically the two freshmen.
Oh,
that
we're
I'm
gonna
most
break
excited
down the
about.
coaching staff soon.
Oh yeah, thank you for getting us back on track. Yes, coaching staff. So because the thread, this is exactly where I was going. I said the thread that holds them all together, and then I got super distracted. Oh boy,
fashion.
I mean, hey, if you're listening to Quack 12, you know that this is kind of the whole show. What if this was the show? What if the idiotic ramblings was the show? Anyways, Dante Thornton, Troy Franklin are freshmen to keep an eye on, and they're the reason why I should be excited for next season. Is because if we just get a competent quarterback or even a second half Anthony Brown, you know what I mean? I mean, he's not going to be on the team, but that really opened a lot of people's eyes in this game. Is Anthony Brown just going off in the second half and just being like, screw it. What do we have to lose? Just air out the ball. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden we looked competitive. And it's because Oklahoma, doesn't have the best secondary or defense in general. And they were kind of just playing with a huge cushion, a huge lead. But still, that's what so many people and what the offense clearly kind of needed. And it did kind of, I don't know, move people a little bit more towards, it seems like Cristobal is so focused on the run and so focused on possession that he really truly limits the deep shot. That maybe that wouldn't have even happened if it was cushion. Yeah.
Well, it was
seems like
interesting as well because whenever they were kind of playing by the standard rule book that has been this past season.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, congratulations on finishing yet another season. We will be circling back around in a year from now.
Yeah, we'll be back, baby.
But yeah, he runs a lot, and I didn't realize how boring that was. I love, everybody loves the excitement of the deep ball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's what our receivers wanted.
So I hope we have a guy who likes to take shots.
Supposedly, so Bo Nix, who is probably the front runner right now, I would say, the transfer from Auburn, he's probably the front runner just because it's like, hey, Ty Thompson's been here for so long and he's just not getting a chance this whole season, really, outside of a couple games, really.
Well, what year is this dude?
He was a true freshman, but he's the highest rate. Oh wait, Ty Thompson is a true freshman.
No,
been on
the
Bo Nix. I think I know he's got 2 years of eligibility, but I think he's like a senior or something like that. His first game ever, he was a true freshman, was in 2019 against us. So, whatever that is, 2022. So this will be his senior season.
Truth talk?
Mm-hmm.
I think it seems more responsible to focus in on the freshman.
A lot of people feel that way, man. Especially
you got 4 years of like conditioning that you can work into the mind of knowing how plays need to work.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy that's only got like 1 year, maybe
2 years.
2.
Yeah.
2 years of eligibility, but if he does good, he's going to go to the NFL.
He would want to. Yeah.
They'd want to go to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather focus on the fresh meat, the spongy brain. The other dude's like, I'm going to the NFL soon. I'm not going to be worried about learning this shit.
Everyone wants that. The ideal situation is the freshman. The thing is, none of us know, we're not coaches, what they're really seeing. And so speculation runs rampant, Maybe he will win. I can tell you that's what Dan Lanning would probably want, but he's also getting Bo Nix just to have another backup, that he knows like the goods and the bads about him because he's played against him, because
Right.
he played at Auburn, but like Lanning coached at Georgia, and then also because our offensive coordinator worked with Bo Nix. So Dillingham worked with him. So there's
Sure. Oh,
familiarity with there. So there
okay. So that's
yeah.
actually a little different, right? Because
Yeah.
there's already a playbook that they both understand. They have
It
a
really
language.
it really seems like he's pretty similar to kind of what you're getting with Anthony Brown, except take away the running threat a little bit, like less of a running threat, more of a passing threat, but otherwise kind of the same like
I
ceiling
love that.
is what it sounds like. I'll tell you this
It's like a little Troy
back
Aikman.
yeah, sure. Hopefully. Back to the point we made 30 years ago. I also want to shout out Terence Ferguson because he was a freshman too. He's a tight end. He only caught one ball for 8 yards, but I just really liked him all season. And like I think our tight end room is gonna be pretty awesome, especially if Patrick Herbert can come along. And if Cam McCormick, the legendary unicorn of Cam McCormick, a healthy season, if that ever comes to be. I don't know, 47-32. We lost this game. Anthony Brown, 27 of 40,
And that score
306 yards.
lies so hard too.
Yeah. Well, I
But I
mean,
digress.
to be fair, like Oregon did get close. You know what I mean? Like, I know
17 points at one point, I think.
anyone who watched this game was like, no, the Oregon was never going to win this thing.
Right. The
But
defense, there was a point when it was just like obvious the defense will not stop their offense.
yeah, it was rare. I think, yeah, the second half, I think the entire time it was like a 3-score thing. So
Tough.
no, no,
It's
no, no, no.
tough. It's
At the
hard.
end, actually, so with 6 minutes and 46 seconds left, I believe Troy Franklin caught that 30-yard touchdown pass, and that made it a 2-score game. That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's like, six and some change minutes left and 2 scores. That's not very likely. And anyone who watched the game is like, that's impossible. If you watch this game, that's impossible.
It's improbable because of how they were holding the ball.
Not only that, but this is something we've talked about before, Aaron. This is something you've brought up a lot, and I've bought more and more into this.
Oh boy.
This idea that we are the bad guys,
Oh God, yes, absolutely.
yeah. And the reason why I think that in this one, it's not because because we actually like, we're a good group of kids out there, they're not so bad. And like no one's like
Tell
horrendous
you
on this
this.
team. Everyone's nice.
They're as evil as any other kid their age in
Yeah,
the
sure.
position they're in.
Yeah, exactly.
Mischief will be had.
Yeah, so they're not bad in real life, but we are just used as a foil, as like
Oh
the
God, yeah.
faceless team. Because with this
Yes.
one especially, I mean, Stoops coming back and coaching this thing. Bob Stoops, especially after that last game in 2006 when we beat him on that fluky, whatever you want to say. We still won that game, but whatever. He comes back, especially after they lose Lincoln Riley, which, as we know, that's a tough experience to lose a coach like that. For them, it's probably even worse because he's actually been there for a really long time, took them near the promised land, got them to the playoffs multiple times, got them multiple Heisman winning quarterbacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But consistently won the Big 12. And then he just leaves all of a sudden. And so they're devastated. And Bob Stoops, their old time guy that they all love, basically our Bilotti, but it comes in there and delivers them a win. And even at the end, so he's got that little visor, that little Oklahoma visor that he loves wearing.
Right.
I saw at the end of the game, Brent Venables comes up and he's there just on the podium as well. And he puts the visor on Venables' head. And it's like, oh, you're the next one. I mean, it's like a perfect Hollywood ending for them. And it just seems so often, especially in these bowl game situations, we are the team that's just meant to lose because the other team has some like heart and or that scrappiness. And I fucking hate it, man.
Here's
I
the
ducking
thing.
hate it. I'm sorry.
And that gives us a perfect segue into this week's conspiracy corner.
Oh, okay.
Adam, as every wrestling fan knows, the heel is the most important aspect of the match.
That's true.
It's
I knew
their job to make the face go babyface. That's what they're there to make it be magic, right? They are the magic moment. So we all know that money is deep, deep in sports in general, college football particularly.
And Oregon Ducks as well.
I'm thinking maybe some of the corporate affiliates we have are setting up scenarios in which we look extra bad guy-ish in order to promote and sell these other teams.
I'm going to stop you there because you're rambling. But I'm also going to say, I wasn't
able to like find a home for it.
You didn't land
it.
You didn't land it. But I will say, I agree with you 100% in your conspiracy
All right.
theory.
So
Whatever
everybody, that conspiracy is up in the air. If you can bring her home, hit us up on Twitter about it.
If you can find a way to make that a real thing,
make that play.
So I don't know, spirited play from Anthony Brown. Travis Dye, I mean, again, just ridiculously awesome. Just carried us this
hard
season.
Worker.
18 carries, 153 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, come on. You're like, hey, how did we lose this game? And then you look at Caleb Williams for 242 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Brooks, 142 yards, 3 touchdowns. We were meant to lose this game. I don't really want to spend too much more time on it. I was kind of, uplifted to see some of it. And hey, get this, Aaron. The entire offensive line at this point has announced they are returning for the 2022 season. And that's a huge thing. That offensive line, gelling together. But that's what gave us the 2019 season. So, yeah.
The 2019 season.
When we went to the Rose Bowl with Herbert, we had that veteran O-line. We're going to have that again in 2022. Just saying.
But I guess so. I don't know.
There you go.
I was going to try and somehow expound on the fact that because they'll be coached differently.
I mean, that's the thing.
Who knows how that's going to play within the personnel. And they will change so much. They got used to one thing. Are they going to get adjusted back over to where they originally were? Are they now in the new position? What was it going to?
Who knows? Hey,
we got very fascinating, though.
A whole off season to talk about it.
I know.
Any final thoughts on this Alamo Bowl?
I think what I presumed to be the freshmen, which were basically every player whose name I did not recognize,
which is basically
showed
everybody.
enough promise that I don't feel terrible about next season starting.
I
am excited to get to know the new coaches, but I am not going to get invested in them because you hurt me once. Shame on you.
You
hurt me twice. Cristobal. Shame on me.
I'll tell you
this. 2 coaches torn, baby.
Yeah.
I can't have a third one do it to me. So next season, brick wall.
That's fair. I think that's the way to do it. Do not let Dan Lanning into your heart.
No.
Do not let him in your heart.
Never.
Even though, I'll tell you this, he looked pretty damn good when I was watching. He's still coaching for Georgia as their DC. That we weren't sure whether that was actually going to happen. He's doing that. He wasn't even at our bowl game. He's with Georgia, coaching them in, the playoffs.
Great.
And
good for him.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool. It's the opposite of what Cristobal did. And
100%
Yeah. And
then Miami bails.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we spoiling the next topic already?
You did spoil a little bit, but it's all right. Most people know. But Dan Lanning looked pretty damn good on the sideline when they only allowed 3 points for most of the game. Georgia just completely dominated Michigan, just kind of humiliating. Specifically, their defense just shut them down. And It was in the third quarter when the announcers are looking at something to talk about, and the commentators, and they're talking about Dan Lanning, like, this guy, look at him. He was on the sideline coaching up people, had an X and O's, chart out, pointing at things, looking into it. And it's like, hey, looks good. That's what you want to see.
Here's a question for you.
What's that?
Previously
on
on
12.
our podcast,
yes,
you mentioned that Cristobal or one of the coaches who is leaving might try to
Brian
take players away from us.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Mr. Lanning,
that's what we're hoping,
is going to bring some of that defense to us.
That's exactly what I'm hoping, my man. It's
How
all
interesting. The politics of all this is far more interesting than the sport itself. I really have to admit it.
I'd have to agree with you. Hey, speaking of politics, let's get into a huge segment. The reason why we are here today, my friend.
Oh,
I'm talking about the picks.
Oh, shit.
Or I guess it's kind of the picks and the bottom 11. I don't really know. I'm going to hit both the buttons here.
The picks. Bottom 11.
Yeah.
That is right, my friend. We got a big one. Because, what's that?
I'm realizing the bottom 11 doesn't work as a concept in our show because we talk about one of the other 12 teams when we play a Pac-12 team in the breakdown of our team. So then we have to cover it again. Don't
think about it too much. Don't think about it too much.
I just say
that's enough. Enough out of you. Okay. Oh boy.
The picks. Oh baby. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I picked Georgia, so that's good news.
We did not pick the actual big games. We should have. Maybe we'll pick the national championship.
Oh yeah, that's right. We didn't pick the playoff stuff. We just picked our bowls.
A smart college podcast would have done that. I'll tell you that.
Holy shit.
Every other college podcast in the world would have done that. But we did not do that because we are cool Pac-12 hipsters. The Great Pick'em Challenge, Aaron versus Adam. This is a season-long competition we've had. I'll tell you this. You have a 6-point lead right now ahead of me.
Dangerously low for a 2-point bowl round.
That is dangerously low. Oh, no. My computer, what the hell is going on? My computer keeps shutting down.
This would be a perfect time for me to talk about one of my previous experiences in nature.
Please do that. You're going to have to do that.
On a spiritual journey between myself and the birds that live in my cherry tree.
You all right there, Aaron?
So what I had to do was buy a slingshot, and I got a 5-pound bag of pebbles.
I think you're losing.
And I sit outside my bedroom window on the roof, and just in time.
Here we go. Be sure to edit out all that nonsense rambling you were doing. Okay.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The Great Pick'em Challenge is here. And Aaron, so we got them all here. Here's those juicy picks. And since you don't even remember, I got them all listed here. And I'm just going to start shouting out the results of these bowl games.
Hit it.
Starting with the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl.
I think we talked about this one.
We already did because, it took place before our last episode. So we already talked about it a little bit. But BJ Baylor was kind of bottled up there for only 78 yards. And they end up losing to Utah State 24-13. As you can see here, I chose Oregon State. You chose Utah State. So that's going to be a win for you. That's 2 points because each bowl game is worth 2 points. Now, after that, we got the Holiday Bowl. The Holiday Bowl, which is UCLA versus NC State. Now, Aaron, wouldn't you know, with 5 hours before kickoff, Chip Kelly announces that the UCLA Bruins are bailing and they leave. This is one of the only bowl games, if not the only bowl game, I'm not quite sure, to straight up not be. No, that's very not true. But yeah, it was straight up canceled. Straight up canceled. And from
Why?
what the scuttlebutt is, well, because of COVID on UCLA's part. But the scuttlebutt is that Chip Kelly had like the gym, the Bruins gym stuff, like the mobile gym. It was already being broken down and taken out at like 10 in the morning or something like that, like hours and hours before they actually announced. And it's like the polite thing to do is to announce, to tell the Wolfpack, what you're doing before, like, because it's a pretty crushing thing. They traveled a long way. Like, it's going to be a brutal loss, but they didn't. And I'll tell you, the not only that, there was a little bit more butt hurt to be had, I should say.
Oh boy.
Pardon my French, because their coach, the Wolfpack's coach, was not having it, dude.
What did he do?
I got a little clip here. He he had a nasty name. Let's just hear it. Well, I'll tell you this. I got a little background. So they didn't vacate. This is the coach
for NC State.
For Wolfpack. I should know his name, but Dave Doran, of course. Of course I knew that. I did not. He was pissed because they did not give him the win. It wasn't a forfeit from UCLA, even though that was the rule. Like, I actually don't know why they didn't do this. It is kind of bullshit. But here's his response.
The first thought I had was that.
Yeah, they should get the win. Yeah. And not only that, but apparently this dude gets like 50 grand, an extra 50 grand in his personal pocket. I think it was around there, if he wins a bowl game due to contract incentives. So it's like, yeah, I'd be pissed too. I'd be furious. Chip Kelly would be pissed as well.
Well, to be fair, he went.
Yeah, he went.
They fucking went. $50.
And obviously, the NCAA has came out and said that it won't be officially marked as that, but what are your thoughts on that situation?
Well, the NCAA stands for no clue at all, in my opinion, so I don't really care what they say about it. But for our guys, like I said, we took a roster of guys down there that had zero COVID issues, practiced every day, did everything right, and didn't get a chance to play the game. As far as I'm concerned, we did beat them. They couldn't even get to the field, so
boom.
You can say whatever you want, but if you look at college football playoff definition, what's going to happen if that happens in one of their games? That team's forfeiting.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're following the same guidelines that those ball games are going to follow.
No clue at all. Can you believe that? NCAA stands for no clue at all. Not only that,
true though, right? I mean,
it doesn't actually.
We're talking about
that,
big money here, and they're pointless.
Oh yeah, they're evil as fuck.
I'm with him, 100% with him. I agree with him. That's a win. It was a forfeit. It would work exactly like that in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, 2 points for me.
Yeah. So there you go.
Boom.
There you have that. It's canceled. So neither of us get anything on that one.
Wow, you picked the Soons. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's right. I picked the Oklahoma Sooners because a lot of reasons. It's because we ended up being down 31 players from our roster, dude. 31 players. That's basically a third of the team.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So, I mean, Oklahoma's down good players too, but yeah. And we lost, and that blows, and we already talked about it. Let's go to the next one, the Las Vegas Bowl. Viva Las Badgers, if you will. We both chose the Badgers in this one. We both went with Wisconsin because we were high on that cheese.
Who were they going against?
Going against them Sun Devils. No wonder you.
Oh, that's why I picked Wisconsin.
Forced yourself to forget about them. Yeah. So in this one, Jaden Daniels, who apparently is returning for another season, kind of nuts. Once more, might as well, I guess. Jaden Daniels, 11 of 21, 159 yards, 40 rushing, 1 interception. So, if that's his stat line, they didn't win this game. And no, they did not. And that 1 interception came at a brutal time because ASU threw a pick on the first drive. So they throw an interception on the first drive. Wisconsin quickly scores a touchdown after that. Arizona State,
a neck breaker. Oh, yeah. That sucks.
Then Arizona State marches down the field. They hit a field goal, but Wisconsin quickly scores after that. And then Arizona State actually gets it to 20-13. They get 2 field goals and then they get a touchdown, and it's a 1-score game. There's only 9:47 left on the clock. Wisconsin's got the ball, and they even get them down on this drive to a 3rd and 12, but they convert on the 3rd and 12, and then they do the most Wisconsin Badger Big Ten thing of all, and they kill 9 minutes and 47 seconds off this clock, just slowly draining it like the life out of a Wisconsin cow for a burger. Is that a good Midwest accent? Is that good?
I don't know if any of it made sense as analogies go, but
Go Badgers.
It was a great accent. Yeah,
I
guess you're doing a Wisconsin accent.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Heavens
Fargo
no.
Is Fargo in Wisconsin? I don't know.
I believe no, it's North Dakota, I think. Oh man,
right.
Now we're gonna look like idiots. Oh God,
North Dakota.
Wisconsin and Wisconsin. There you go. Washington State and Washington State. We both went with Washington State on this one. We were really feeling the W's this week, apparently. Now Wazoo. Now here's the thing, Aaron. You remember this. So Miami has to cancel due to COVID, and they do the good thing, the good wise thing. Thing. What's that?
Just want to say, total shocker that Miami has a case of COVID. Color me completely surprised.
Is that you dissing on Florida?
Florida fucking sucks.
Okay. Well, yeah. There you go. So you've now pissed off Arizona. We have no fans in Arizona. We're gonna have no fans from Florida.
I want to say it right now. The season's over. Arizona.
Yeah.
That was a great round, everybody. I had fun fucking with y'all, but it's officially over. I'm going back next year. Every team's on the table to be my favorite. That was just a gimmick I did for the season. It's over.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So
I have no real hate in my heart except for
Florida now.
As a state.
Okay.
There are lovely people in Florida. I wish they would leave. Come somewhere nicer. Florida as a state. P.U. stinky pants.
Okay, that's enough. Well, just don't say anything bad about Australia, because that's really
Love
the
it.
people. Yeah.
Great place.
G'day, mates. Anyways, so the Sun Bowl, Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, to be frank.
Got to get that marketing in.
Now, it was supposed to be Wazoo versus Miami, but Miami, they canceled, and they do it with enough time because they're not Chip Kelly, that they're able to reschedule, because the Arizona Bowl, which is a bowl game we talked about, these Barstool Sports guys, those guys, those jabronis.
Right.
That game, I forget who, I got it written down here. Boise State, Idaho, So there you go. Do you want to say anything bad about Idaho? I'm fine with that.
No, I love Idaho.
Okay, cool. Boise State, they cancel out because of COVID. But the Central Michigan Chippewas, they're like, hey, what about us? We still want to play some football. And so they join in on the Sun Bowl. And, they say, screw you, Arizona Bowl. Because it was something like the payout, too, was like so much more money to go play on TV.
Baby.
In the Miami Bowl or in the Sun Bowl, blah, blah, blah.
Whoa, you're telling me the game they would have played wouldn't have even been televised?
I think it would have been streamed, actually. Yeah. I don't think it would have been on television. Maybe it would have. I don't know. But yeah, so instead they go down to El Paso, Texas, which you love because you love the water. You told me that. And Central Michigan opens up a bit of whoop ass in this first half. Defensively, they shut them down. They force 7 punts to 3 first downs in the first half against Washington State. So they had no success. Not only that, so they only had 53 yards. Washington State did in the first half.
Wow.
Yeah.
The
And
whole game?
No, in the first half. They
Oh,
only had
God.
53
Okay.
yards. And so Central Michigan, the Chippewas, they were able to build up a 21-0 lead at the half.
Wow.
And Jaden Delora gets benched. I believe, I didn't watch this exact moment. I believe he got benched because of performance, because he finished 9 of 19 for 45 yards. That's not good. So Victor Gabalis, I believe is his name, Victor Gabalis, he heads out there and he does a lot better, actually. 11 of 23 for 177 yards, but gets 2 touchdowns. And he rallies back and it becomes a much closer game. Now, however, they didn't have a lot of key players here, especially at running back. That really would have helped them out. They didn't have Max Borghi, or Borghi. I always want to say
I know
Borghi.
that name, so he's important.
Oh yeah, he's their running back / he's catching a lot of balls and like just really their main weapon, honestly. He wasn't there because he's going to the NFL draft. I think he can actually make a roster. He could really do something up there. And then also Dion Mcintosh also was going. I think he was out due to an injury or something like that, or COVID, not sure. But he wasn't able to play too. Also, I believe a lot of their offensive linemen, it was a really makeshift offensive line for those same reasons. So tough roster for Washington State to be working with. But they end up losing this one, even though they have the ball, trying to get that final drive. They fall short of the sticks and lose 24-21, which makes this, I think, a bit historic. Because if I'm not wrong, this is the first victory, a bowl victory, I should say, against a Power 5 program for the MAC. So that's some real action right there. Central Michigan.
For who?
For their conference.
So
that's pretty huge because they're part of the group of 5. We're the Power 5. So pretty nuts and
that's
pretty
fun.
embarrassing.
Good for them.
Washington
holiday miracle.
Yeah. I mean, I should say Washington State has a history of letting really low level teams beat them for like wow, this hasn't happened in 100 years. Like there's a lot of that in Washington State's history. Okay.
I think it's fine by me because you didn't get any points on that either. Therefore, it is a win.
That's right. And then there's one more left, Ohio State and Utah in the Rose Bowl. Now, Aaron, this game was actually going on. It just ended like an hour ago. Right. And I'd like to recap to tell this to you because you didn't watch this, yes?
Correct. I watched the Doctor Who Eve of the Daleks.
Doctor Who? Like a recent Doctor Who? Was it good?
Brand new. World premiere was today.
What's your review? Don't spoil it for anyone, but
the showrunner is atrocious and he is leaving the show, and the guy who kind of rebooted Doctor Who is coming back. So
well, there you go.
The showrunner is atrocious. The new Who is unfortunately bad, but everyone in the show does good. It's just they have nothing to work with.
New Who, boo hoo. That's my review of it. Clearly, I needed some stalling time, but I've got it now. So, Ohio State versus Utah. Now, this was all about the motivation, right? Because they didn't have Wilson or Olave, and they're two like standout receivers. Not that they don't have other standout receivers, as this game clearly showed. But Ohio State was down some key players, mainly because of the NFL, because they're like, this game isn't big enough. We're huge talents, and fair for them. They could have gotten
good
injured.
For them.
Yeah, a lot of people did get injured in this game. Like, you don't want to risk that draft stock. And so they sat out. Meanwhile, Utah, they are rearing to go. Utah has never been to a Rose Bowl in their history, partially because, they're new to the Pacific Conference and that's the tie-in for the game. But still, they had never been to a Rose Bowl. And so they were ready for it. This is a huge send-off, obviously, because of those two players that they've been commemorating all season too. Like, this felt huge. Apparently, they sold. They had a huge amount of Utah fans there. They had way more Utah fans there. It was practically a home game. They actually had more Utah fans there than seats in their stadium in Salt Lake City. So yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I believe that was the case. Ohio State, they showed up, but not like Utah. This was practically
That's
a home
incredible.
game.
What
And
a vibe.
So they go out there, you got that classic like punt on both sides, but then Utah becomes electric on offense, and it really looks like they're going to take this thing quickly. Because we had a Cam Rising. The first score was a 19-yard touchdown to Britton Covey, of course, and then they force a 3-and-out from Ohio State. Then Utah goes 8 plays, 67 yards, and a 12-yard touchdown to Micah Bernard. A really good touchdown too, if I remember correctly. And so they're up 14-0. Ohio State, then they get a 25-yard pass on 4th and 1 to make it 14-7. Utah goes 9 plays, 79 yards, and it was just like chunk, like very little resistance for Utah. Kind of like what Michigan did, kind of like what Oregon did in the 2 losses against it. So it looked very familiar, honestly. And Cam Rising was also just having a lot of success just picking apart this defense. And so they end up scoring on a 6-yard touchdown from Tavion Thomas to go up 21-7. But then the real shit starts happening. Like, I was trying to take a break to I need to go to the bathroom or something, but I couldn't even go to the bathroom because then all of a sudden it was touchdown.
Well, surely there was a commercial break in there.
It just didn't feel like it, man. So Ohio State, they go first. There's a 50-yard pass to Jackson Smith-Njigba. CJ Stroud to him, just boom. And Ohio State is realizing, you know what? We're falling behind. This dude is an amazing receiver. Actually, Hithloday reviewed him in the previews and was like, is he finally going to have his breakout season? It's like, this is a legendary game he had. Because first of all, boom, 50-yard pass to him. And it becomes a 1-score game. But then they kick it off to the Utes, and Britton Covey, the man who burned us in our game,
right,
he returns it 97 yards for a touchdown. So just immediately, boom, Utes are up 28-14. Then the next play, first down for Utah. They're starting at their own 48 after a bad kick. But on the first play, 52-yard pass to Jackson Smith-Njigba. So it's another 50-yard pass to the same dude. And it was just easy. Just boom. So they're just taking it off the top now. It's like, here's the weakness. Do we just attack that every time? CJ Stroud's a great quarterback too, even though he's very young. However, it only takes 4 plays for Utah to score again, because they get down to 4th and 1 at their own 38-yard line. Cameron Rising,
Ohio State threw that 51-yard.
Oh yeah, both those 50-yard passes were both Ohio State.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Utah earlier. Sorry. Okay,
no,
I'm back.
So both times they've been out here just boom, boom,
right,
bombing it. So then, however, Utah on 4th and 1, Cam Rising, it looks like he's going down, but no one really brings him down. He keeps his balance, and the quarterback runs 62 yards to the house for a score. Then Ohio State fumbles the ball, but Utah isn't able to do anything with it. And so 35-21 at the half. It looks like Utah's really got this. However, I'll wrap this second half up a lot quicker than I said that, because that was the excitement of that. However, really quickly, Ohio State forces so Utah picks off Ohio State, but then as Utah is about to punt on their next possession, they fumble the ball, and Ohio State quickly turns that into a touchdown. Utah gets a field goal on their next drive. Ohio State gets a field goal. Utah turns it over on downs. Ohio State gets another touchdown. And then I think they get like back-to-back deep touchdowns. Another 30-yard touchdown to Jackson Smith-Njigba. This was the worst part of it. Cam Rising, this amazing quarterback, just gets destroyed on a sack. His head hits the ground. Like, I believe they had to cart him off. I'm not quite sure, but it looked terrible.
Who's he the football player for? Ohio State?
No, Utah. He's
Utah.
the guy, my man. And he was leading it, but he gets knocked out clearly. And so it's like, oh, that
concussion protocol.
It looks terrible, man. Like, I don't even know if he was conscious. And so they put in backup quarterback Bryson Barnes. They're down a touchdown now because Ohio State has actually taken the lead at this point. Bryson Barnes still, though, goes out there and ties the game with a touchdown. The backup QB goes out there and does it. The crowd is freaking out. However, it takes barely any time for Ohio State because, again, they've met no resistance for basically this whole game. And they go down. They get the field goal. And Ohio State wins the game. Isn't that brutal?
Yeah, maybe.
Brutal?
I don't know. It was a little confusing, the second half description, so I don't know exactly how all played out, but it seems like it was a brutal match.
I'm sure everything I said was terrible radio, but we're going to keep it all in because I'm just so excited of this game.
The issue is more that I don't know what you're talking about half the time.
That is
true. So it's I'm sure anyone with a base knowledge in the game will get it.
It's also the charm of the show. All that being said, though.
Yep. 2 points for you. That sucks.
2 points for me. Now let's look at where we're at here. We got that here. I got 6 points.
That's awesome.
I got 6 points, so that should mean that I tie you. However, Aaron, you got 4 points.
No. I'm supposed to get the points for that game.
For what? The canceled?
It was a forfeit.
Oh, no way. No, it wasn't.
The rule.
The NCAA ruled it as not a forfeit. That's why I played that video.
You know what the NCAA stands for?
What? You don't remember,
you said earlier that I
knew you didn't. No clue at all. That's you.
No clue at all.
Well, guess what? You don't get it, but you still win. By 4 points, 58 points to 54. Aaron wins it all, and that's the Great Pick'em Challenge. And there you have it. It's been, I know this is a weird, crazy time, but Aaron, you've won it again. I just want to applaud you for it.
You know, I think next year I'm going to do even better because I'm going to be so emotionless that everything I speak about will be 100% laser focused and knowledge.
Well, I doubt that very much. But listeners of the Quack 12 podcast, if you'd like to support the show, please do a couple of things. First of all, please go to Twitter, our Twitter account at Quack 12 podcast. Just give us a follow. It's that easy. If you want to help us out even more, go to our YouTube page, or you can go to our Patreon at Quack 12 podcast /Patreon. It's a wonderful spot where you can give us money and it will help us make more of these, because you can bet we're still going in the off season.
Adam,
we're going deep in the off season. What's that?
What do we have to look forward to in this off season? Now that the football season's wrapped up, everybody else is tucking it in. What are we going to start partying on? I'm
glad you asked that, my friend. Well, first of all, we're going back to one of our favorite series on the Patreon, Quack in Time. And now you can expect some of this on the main free feed too. Just little tastes of it, though. If you want the full thing, you got to go to the Patreon. Now, this is us breaking down every single Oregon Ducks football season in the history of the world. It's a very fun little goofy series that will actually teach you something along the way. We're also going to be breaking down men's and women's basketball. And we're going to be just deep diving into Oregon Duck football history lore. We're going to have a bunch of fun interviews. Please check out our YouTube page too, because we're going to be posting to that pretty frequently. We love y'all. And hey, go Ducks.
Quack, quack.
Quack quack. I thought you were gonna push the button. Am I gonna? Okay, I'm
You want
gonna.
me?